Welcome everybody to Eye of the Serpent Tarot for another pick a card. So today I'm doing a pick a card using Chris Lee's beautiful fantasy feline deck. You can see 3 of the cards there, and you'll see quite a few more of them as these readings progress. If you may have seen, if you've been following my deck creator interviews, that I interviewed Chris. He created the fantasy feline deck. He's got a Kickstarter at the time that I'm filming this live that is around a fantasy canine deck. He's done all kinds of different decks, so you're going to see quite a few of them on my channel over time because I really, really love his work. He's got a lovely energy. He's such a sweet guy. So if you are interested in seeing a bit more about his work and what he does, in the playlist that I have for deck creator interviews, you'll see the one for him. But today, in honour of the fantasy feline deck, so the cat deck, we're asking what your inner feline has messages for you. And so what I'm talking about there is your very clever, strategic, self-actualized self. What that part of you in your day-to-day wants to talk to you about love, career, well-being, and your spiritual life. And then also I'm going to use Chris's Sanctus Concordia deck as well, tarot deck as well, to connect in with your inner feline higher self. So this deck will be kind of more like if you had a cat as a companion, and that was here in the 3D and that kind of energy. And then the second deck will be tapping into that same sort of very clever spiritual wise energy that cats have, but at your higher self, to look at those perspectives. And then we'll use some other oracles just to kind of round it out. So I'm not sure. I think this might be a relatively quick set of readings, but, I never know till I do them, so we'll see. But what I did ask Spirit, I shuffled the deck, and you'll see they're all horizontal in this deck, in the cat's deck, and to me that's the quirky thing that you have with cats. They're going to have their particular way of doing things. So we'll only be doing a couple of these cards for each of the areas, partly for space, but you'll get to see quite a few of them. So to help choose, I asked for the first 3 major arcana cards for pile 1, 2 and 3. So pile number 1, if that's your choice, has Strength. For pile number 2 we have Wheel of Fortune. And for pile number 3, we have Temperance. Of course, go to more than one reading if you like. There might be sort of an amalgam of messages across them. But when you know what reading or readings you want to go to, as always, I've got the timestamps in the description box below, and I'll see you there. Welcome, pile number 1. So you've come to the reading with Strength, and so we're just going to be building from the cat deck to start with here. So this, I think, is sort of saying that the messages are about what your particular strengths are. I think your inner feline wants you to be proud of them, wants to know about them, and about what they're bringing into various aspects of your life. So I think we're going to look at your particular areas with that tilt. It could be also strengths that you're not actually activating and that you could activate. So your inner feline might be a little bit impatient with you and want you to get on with something. But by and large, I think this is what we're going to be looking at. We're going to be looking for you around your areas of strength and where you can be sovereign. Because, like in this deck, this is a lion, or at least it's a kitten that looks like a lion. So that's the inner lion as well as the inner cat, I think, for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to deal out 2 cards for love and relationships, 2 cards for career and vocation, 2 cards for general well-being, and 2 cards for spiritual energy, just to see what at that kind of conscious day-to-day level your inner feline, your inner clever self is wanting to talk to you about. So firstly, around relationships, we have the 7 of Swords reversed and the Tower reversed. Well, that's interesting. Okay. I'm just going to need to move these so I can make sure that I can fit it all in. Then when we're talking about career and vocation, Justice. Oh, that's promising. And Page of Pentacles. Okay. Then general well-being. The 5 of Pentacles reversed. And the 5 of Wands. So that's interesting. Sorry, I keep saying that's interesting, but they are interesting to me with what this is saying, I think. And then your spiritual energy. The 10 of Pentacles. and the Page of Cups. Okay. So, aren't they beautiful? They're such beautiful cards. So, this is very interesting here. So the Seven of Swords, when it's reversed to me, is talking about being very realistic. So this is suggesting to me, again, bearing in mind that we're kind of looking at your strengths, how you use your strengths in these areas and what your particular strengths are. So I think your inner feline is saying you are very realistic about relationships, or it's a strength that you have that you can activate now. Because something, whether it's a love relationship or whether it's broader relationships, because this could be either. So, it depends on whether a love relationship is really core or not, or whether it's around friendships and family and other relationships around you. But the Tower reverse to me is always where a change is necessary, but you are reasonably in control of it when it's reversed. It can be done incrementally. And so this is a sort of energy that says there is one or more relationships in your life that need a change. They could be quite a subtle change. It doesn't necessarily mean, because it's not the Tower upright, so it's not everything falling apart. But it's like, I think that your inner feline is asking you to think about your strengths in relationships and be very, very clear and realistic about what are the changes you would make to make those relationships more what you want them to be. And also, what changes do you need to make in yourself to relate to others in a way that you would want to be related with? So there's something there. And if you are in a love relationship or you're considering one, this is a very good sign that you have the strength to be realistic and to take things step by step, rather than just sort of like pulling the rug on something that maybe could be enhanced or clarified or even salvaged if there's any sort of issues around that. So your inner feline is saying one of your strengths is your reality and your capacity to change in an ordered way. And there's something, it's calling on you to think about what relationships you need to change and how. Around work, it's saying either you're about to get offered a new job, that would classically be that with Justice and the Page of Pentacles, a new material enterprise that you can move forward with, a job, a business that you're building with or whatever. And justice is often classically a contract, or you could make money out of legal sort of issues, or you could be setting up your own business and you're doing contractual things around it. But again, your sense of reality, your inner feline likes the fact you're really smart and like an inner cat would like that. You're really smart, you're really balanced, you're very realistic. You can be dispassionate about things that people might normally get quite emotional about, relationships or even like their career and how they're going. And as a result of that, there's a real sense, actually, there's a real Virgo sense about this to me. Like you may well have Leo strongly in your chart since you were drawn to the Strength card, but you don't have to. But I feel like with the Tower reversed, with the Page of Pentacles, they both feel like these sort of incremental structural changes in things, both in relationships and in career. There is a possibility that the two things for some of you may be connecting. It could be a career relationship that needs to be restructured realistically so it still works well when maybe you win a new job, move up the ladder, start a business, whatever it might be. It's going to depend on who comes to the reading, but they're both very positive energies. Your clarity of thought, your fairness, and your kind of practicality are strengths that are really going to help you there. Now, in well-being, however, there is kind of more of an inner battle going on. So I think when you are able to kind of plan and adjust things, you're fine. You're very strategic, you're very realistic, all of that kind of thing. But your inner feline here is saying to you that you may be a little bit too independent sometimes for your own good. And it's partly because you are very sovereign to what you do. You really do think you've got the answers and you know what you're doing. And more often than not, you do. More often than not, you're probably the smartest person in the room realistically. But the reality about this is that you sometimes bring yourself into conflict with others and you feel, this is saying your well-being, you need to move past that and connect with others. There's almost a sense of, either you're a workaholic and you hardly ever see your friends, or as I say, you're kind of so sovereign, you're so independent and so practical that it's not kind of building you a community. And this is having an effect on your general well-being. This is why your inner feline is raising it and saying you do need other people, even if sometimes that might mean you need to argue a bit. Remember that you're very good at structuring, and being realistic in discussions. But I kind of get a feeling from you actually with this. You're the kind of really pragmatic, realistic person. You're kind of the, when somebody, emotionally around you in a relationship or whatever's like kind of going like, but I feel this, You're going, yeah, but this is what you said and this is what you did. There's a kind of, you're very much in your head. So I think it's just your inner feline loves that in many ways. It's a very cat-like tendency actually, but nevertheless it's saying for your general well-being, you need to sometimes like not get into the sort of battles or whatever, just go for the harmony and connection, because you run a bit of a risk of feeling a bit alone. And that's particularly interesting over here because you've got the Ten of Pentacles around spirituality. This suggests to me there's a soul family that you could find or connect with, or that you have a very strong lineage through your family around this. Also, if you want to do something spiritual and a spiritual business, you could do very, very well with it. But the thing that interests me is this is the one where cups turn up. They're not turning up in the rest, but they're turning up here. So it's almost as though part of what you do is you put a lot of your heart energy into your spiritual path. And your inner feline might be saying, that's good, that's great spiritually, but maybe move a little bit of this energy over here, because you could be living too much in the practical on every other aspect except for the spiritual. And again, it could be a lonely path. I think there is a King of the Jungle is wonderful, but is also a little bit lonely. So I think the energy that your inner feline wants you to think about is that. So let's see what the higher self energy. So we're going to get 3 cards from the Sanctus Concordia for each of these as well too. If this is like your inner feline conscious energy going, you're really smart, you're really great at managing relationships, you're really good with your work, you're spiritually really in harmony and connected, and your heart is there, but you know what, you're a bit lonely. That's the general energy here. So let's see what your inner feline's higher self wants to say. Firstly, about relationship. 5 of Cups reversed. King of Cups reversed. Yeah, there's something going on here. 2 of Swords reversed. I'll just lay them all out and then we'll talk. Then around career, 10 of Wands reversed. Strength, wow, it really connects you. Very, very strong energy around your career. 3 of Swords reversed. Yeah, I think you might either leave somewhere and get somewhere better to just relieve a burden, or you actually kind of work out something career-wise that actually means you don't have to leave somewhere. The energy here around your general well-being, where you might be feeling a little bit alone, we have the 10 of Swords. This is where it's sort of showing for you. The Ace of Swords reversed and the Page of Cups reversed. So yeah, it's like, I felt like the Page of Cups here was pointing to over here. And then spiritually, the Ace of Pentacles reversed, the Star reversed, the Hermit. Okay. This is one of the things. So firstly, your higher self is saying, you know what, I hear what my 3D counterpart is saying here. There is a risk of being a bit alone sometimes, but you know what, that's part of my journey. I am a mystic. I am a little bit alone, and my heart is sort of mystically connected. So there's a little bit of a pushback on this, but overall your higher self feline is saying a similar thing. They're saying here that there is some form of relationship that does need healing and some decisions that need to be made. You're in a very good position. Remember, you're smart enough to do it, but it is really important to know that maybe the other people or other person aren't as dispassionate about it. And one of the things that would be really clever for you to do using that 7 of Swords reversed is to not just jump in and start trying to sort of like with the Tower reversed sort of structurally shift it and change it, but actually spend a bit of time finding out more about the emotional side of what the other party is going through. I feel like you're dealing with one or more people where they're very emotional and you're very cerebral. And this is just your higher self is going, you know what, the smartest thing to use that cerebral thing is to know that part of it, to not have that a mystery, because otherwise you could end up in a lot of, like with the 5 of Wands there, petty sort of battles that like make you think, oh, I don't want to be around anybody, even though ultimately we all do need to have connections with others. Over here, I do think 10 of Wands reversed, I think that justice thing, I think with justice and with Page of Pentacles, I think you're going to get a new job offer, you're going to move organisations, you're heading towards your strength, you're removing a burden, or potentially there's an offer, like it may be that you're offered something in another organisation and then people see you as such a strong, you know, player, they offer you a counter offer. that removes some burden for you and allows you to sort of play to your strengths more. But whatever it is, something very good's going on there. And they say, that's fine. You've been putting the hard yards in. You're going to be able to pull back a bit because you're now going to be able to sort of really maximize and monetize with the Page of Pentacles your strengths. That's a very big part of this. Here, there is definitely, you're tiring yourself out. You're actually, the interesting thing about you, I think, as a broad group, pile one, is I think that you have a sort of introverted, sort of like hermit-like spirituality, but you're probably, if you were tested on sort of something like Myers-Briggs, you'd be probably very close to the center of extrovert, introvert. And what that's really about is extrovert gets their energy from other people, introvert from themselves. I think there are times when you need to sort of pull away, be on your own, contemplate, and that's how you build energy. But I think there's also times where if you don't have enough interaction with others, it actually tires you out quicker. So there's a kind of and living in your head a lot is tiring because you're not getting the input from others. It's disconnecting you from your heart as well too. So it's sort of like there's a side of you that does want to connect with others and you do need that energy, but equally it's sort of like you get overwhelmed by the emotion of it sometimes, because there are some emotional people around you by the looks of things. But you do need, if you are close to that, you do need to know. Like one of the things that I've found recently is that it's really good to sometimes, do live readings with people and so forth. I mean, it's very logistically tricky for me because a lot of the people that I read for are in a different time zone, but just to be with another person's energy and having questions at that point can be really good, because I sit very close to that introvert extrovert. So for the most part, it's fine to be reading at home and not interacting, but every once in a while, it's very helpful to actually have a connection with other people. It's too easy in my sort of situation to become a hermit. So I sort of know this energy, and it's saying you do need other people. Spiritually, you are a mystic. But it is saying there is a kind of material connection to find, and I think this is about the Ten of Pentacles with the Ace of Pentacles reversed. I think there is a bit of a call to find a spiritual family, because it may even be for some of you don't feel fully connected to your birth family, and it's like a soul family you're looking for. And if you're, again, isolating yourself, then you're not going to be following that particular star. So I think there's something that your inner Feline at both levels wants you to think about your relationships. You're very good at them as long as you kind of don't make them too cerebral. You're going to do very well with career and so forth. You don't need to worry about that. That's going to sort itself out. But this is more the self-care and the spiritual nourishment energy. So let's just get some other information. So let's get you beyond the feline race. Let's get you some other spirit animal energy across each of these. So use the familiar spirit oracle for that. So what other natural spirit, animal spirit could be giving you support and advice around relationships, beyond what your inner feline is telling you? Wow. Hyena, trickster vibes. So I think this is like, it's interesting, a hyena is like a canine energy in dogs and cats. I think this is saying there's something about where people are very different to you. So, like a cat and a dog, then there is a big tendency for you to go into your mind and even potentially to be a little bit manipulative, not really necessarily meaning harm, but it is actually not getting you as good an outcome as you could get if there was a genuine thing where you also spend some time learning why the person's different, why the perspective is different. What about career? Bat, meeting with the shadow. Okay, well, that's interesting. So it may be that what's happening here is I think you're going to do well, but the better we do in our career or our vocation, the more we have moral choices and so forth to deal with. And if you are in a kind of a negotiation around something, you need to be really clear on what this matters to you and what is your value and all that kind of thing, because there may be sort of something a bit murky, or you might be in something murky right now, and this is why you need to move on, and it's saying it will do well if that's the case. What about general well-being? Hair, luck beyond fear. So I think this is saying if there's a side of you that thinks, relationships get really heavy because people get really emotional and I like to just be about the facts, that you're meant to connect with people, particularly your spiritual team. Like there's luck around this. If you reach out a bit more, if you're a bit more open to it, then this energy is there. And like, I feel like the hair's a bit like a white rabbit. It's a bit like, follow the white rabbit, do the thing that is different. Like, these both are saying that in a way. Do the thing that is different. That will be really helpful for you. And when we look at spiritual energy, Bear, the power of introspection. Yeah, it is fine that you are kind of a bit of a hermit and go within spiritually, and that's where you connect to your heart, and it's kind of mystical. But that introspection should have some sort of outcome for you as well, which I think is finding the people who are like you. And this is where, if you do the introspection, it's almost if you start there, you'll understand what is different about you, how you deal with the shadow, and also how you can bring luck in better connections with other people. So I think there's a recipe that your very clever inner feline wants you to think about. Let's get you some astrology for each of the areas as well. So around relationships. Procyon, personal development, soul growth, breathwork, light code. So I think it's pointing to this issue that, like, there is certainly some emotional sort of stuff that you need to work out with some others, and you're the person who can do it because you have the clarity. But I think it's also pointing to, if you do the introspection here and work out what your kind really is, you're going to have less and less of that divide. So there's a lot going on here. So there's nothing wrong with being introspective there, but it's with a purpose. Then when we look at your career, Mercury, communication, swiftness, agility, travel. Yeah, everything's moving fast there. Very good communicate, very good mind. You've got a very, very good mind. You're smarter than most people. You're like quicker than most people. And you've got to bear that in mind, particularly when you want to have relationships with people of various sorts. Then down here, where it's kind of like believing in the luck that you can actually find something that is more intellectually stimulating potentially, or more like yourself to connect with. Neptune, depths, dreams, illusion, imagination. Some of you may think that's just a dream. Otherwise, I think, again, it's pointing to, it's your spiritual introspection that's going to do it. That's where your core is. And it's also, interestingly, where your heart is. So then the astrology around the spiritual energy for you. Cancer, nourishment, self-protection, intuition. Your intuition, you're very, very psychic, very, very intuitive. You really do know what's going on. And that's where you'll find your family spiritually. That's definitely saying it. So that's meant to work that way. Let's get you some astrology and chakra energy. So some other astrology energy connected with chakras for each of the areas as well. So for love and relationships. Spirituality, Pluto, transformation. Pluto in the crown chakra. Yeah, it all comes from the spirituality. Like, that's going to transform everything. And it'll transform it. You are clever enough to tinker away and restructure the relationships you're in. There's no problem with that. And you don't need to lose the relationships that you have. But once you connect to your soul family, a lot of the differences will fall away. Let's have a look at career. Solar plexus, power, empowering relationships, Venus, love. Oh, you might find a love relationship connected through. This might be the other reason for some of you, if you're looking for love, that your inner feline wants you to start to think about this, because as you sort of like have these successes at work, you might find there's some other things that happen at work as well. But otherwise, it's like I think this is about how you empower others. Like, I feel like many of you are going to move into sort of like a managerial role or a mentoring role or something like that. Your strengths, you're moving into that and almost like creating the leaders of tomorrow or something like that. There's sort of something there for you. And this is why you have to understand it. You can't, as I say, just be the smartest person in the room. You have to really, really apply that mind to a broader palette of understanding. Then around your general well-being, okay, root chakra, survival, reward, Neptune, inspiration. Okay, it's saying Neptune's your thing here. You've got to believe in something a bit unusual or different. I do feel that you've kind of always felt a little bit separated or distant from others or different to others. Some of you may even be neurodiverse, brilliant, but neurodiverse. But there's sort of something there. Your psychic ability, your Neptunian energy is the thing that will take you towards a reward rather than like, inspiration, rather than feeling like, life's a bit scary. And so then the spiritual energy Intuition, so we've got the third eye chakra, so connection with others, telepathic connection with others. Mercury, communication, expanding knowledge, so connecting back to what happens here. You're very interconnected, actually. Like all of these energies are very, very interconnected. This is why I think it all starts here. It has a major, profound effect on how you relate, which empowers your relationships and which brings you to a more inspired and more energetic sort of energy and more connected to those that you need to be connected to. Okay, so just to finish off the reading, we're just going to get a wild card from the Blue Dragonfly deck just to see any last kind of message, potentially quirky or out of left field message that your inner feline wants to give you. Okay, test, limiting beliefs, patriarchy, mental boundaries, pass the exam. It's saying that, like, I think this has a few levels. I think you have the strength to pass the test. You're going to be able to do what you want. You'll do very well there. You can connect from your spirituality to make the changes you need to have the right people around you, the right connections. You have everything you need to pass the test. But I also think it's saying there is a test associated with this for you, which is to work this bit out and let it flow out, number one. But it's also, don't make other people jump through hoops and pass tests, because it's like, partly, particularly maybe around work, but in general, I think that part of your energy could do that. You may not mean to. So don't make your connections and your life things all tests for everybody. You might do it for yourself because you're always testing your strength, but bear in mind, not everybody's as strong as you. So I hope that resonates for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, Pile 2, to your reading. So you came to the reading with Wheel of Fortune. What I'm feeling about the Major Arcana cards is that I think they're the theme that your inner feline wants to talk to you about. So I think for you, it's about your fortune, about your fate, but also about timing, getting the right timing and things. I think this might be one of the main energies that your inner feline wants to talk to you about. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at love and relationships, career and vocation, general well-being, and spiritual development, spiritual energy. We're going to get 2 cards from this deck for each. That's about as much as I can fit in, unfortunately, but that's enough to get an idea from what your inner feline that's kind of conscious, that you would be conscious of in the sort of 3D world, wants to talk about. Then we're going to use the Sanctus Concordia deck to see what your higher self inner feline wants to say about all of that, and then we'll use some other oracles. So firstly, the energy around love and relationships for you at the moment. The King of Swords reversed. The Queen of Swords reversed. Okay, that's interesting. Okay. The energy around career. The Tower. Wow, big changes going on in your life potentially. King of Cups. The energy around general well-being. 10 of Cups reversed. That doesn't surprise me. I think you've got some challenges. So, we're going to look at how you use timing and fortune and luck to deal with that, but also there might be some inevitabilities that you're having to sort of go through, Pile 2. And the 3 of Wands reversed. And then spiritual energy for you. The Devil reversed. The 10 of Pentacles reversed. This is really interesting. Most of these have come out reversed. Not that that necessarily is a problem, but it's interesting. I think there's a lot of inner contemplation going on for you about what do you have choice over, what don't you have choice over, what's about timing. There's a lot of fate around this, actually. But also there are, when can you choose? When do you have free will as well? So firstly, the first thing that occurs to me when I see a King of Swords and a Queen of Swords reversed, any kind of pairing of King and Queen, whether they're upright or reversed. If they're reversed, there's usually tension or something that's unspoken or needs to be dealt with. If they're upright, it's usually a kind of real synergy of energy between 2 people. This normally comes up around love relationships. It doesn't necessarily mean that they have to be, heterosexual relationships. It's just the 2 sort of like energies. So this would suggest for some of you, there may be what was initially a great meeting of the minds in a relationship, but now one or other of you is not sure. That is a possibility with this. There could be a very different decisions about things or about what way a relationship should be. So if it's a love relationship, I'd say it has a lot of promise, but it's something unspoken, something that's not being dealt with, where there are differences of opinion. Or there might be the thought that there's a difference of opinion and there actually isn't, but there's something it's kind of suppressed. Now, if it isn't in a love relationship, if it's a friendship or in a family, if it's a family, there could be some issues going on with other couples around you that's impacting your view of relationships. You could have two, if your parents weren't getting on, they might both want you to be on their side, for instance, or something like that. There's some separation, there's some almost standoff energy going on here. If this is around a friendship, then there's two people who think they're right about something, but they're not fully talking it through or hearing the other side. So there's something like that. Your inner feline wants you to know that if you feel there's a lot under the surface of what you're thinking about a relationship, so is the other person. And that, in fact, if that was brought to the surface a bit more, it could actually work very well. If both those cards turned around, you'd find you have more in accordance than you think, but there's like a lack of communication. If this is you seeing it around others, it's like you've got two people who want to pull you in different directions. So I think be careful with that, because you don't want to get mixed up in the fate, the karma, the choices of others. Similarly, over here in work, there's big changes going on around work. So you could be thinking about leaving a job. You could be in a workplace that's going through change or is a bit unstable. Sorry about that. Anything like that could happen. You might be thinking, I need to make a really big change. It's time. I've done everything that I can. I've hit the glass ceiling, whatever it might be. There could be something like that. The good news with the King of Cups there is you've got a very mature approach to this. You're not panicking about it. You're not emotionally upset. You're kind of looking at it and seeing what is the benefit in a big change around you. So it could be, if you were in an organisation that was downsizing, maybe getting some form of redundancy payout might actually help you then plan for what you would really always have wanted to do. Or it could be that if change is going on in an organisation, you're actually going to do well out of it because you rise as a manager who can deal with the change really well. But there's something big going on. Or you might have just decided, I'm going to follow my heart now for what I want to do. Even if that kind of throws all my career up in the air, I'm going to go and do what I really want to do. So there's change energy around that. But I feel like you've got an emotional stability around it. You've got an emotional handle on it. So your inner feline's going, that's great. There's a lot going on, but you're going to be able to keep your head while it's going on. This could also be a relationship that's connected to this. You could be being headhunted by two different teams in some sort of organisational battle. And then it's sort of like, well, you really need to find out what the truth of the matter is rather than getting in the middle of it, I would say. But you've got the emotional maturity to deal with it. Given all that change and all this subterranean energy, it's not surprising to see in general well-being, we've got 10 of Cups reversed. I wouldn't be surprised for some of you. There's some family dispute you've got caught up in, or it's your partner of a long-term thing and it's like, is this going to last? There's something that's sort of emotionally a bit over the top, and where you're not sure whether you're on the same path as other people or whether you need to go off on your own path. So all this change, there's a lot of energy affecting your well-being. So the more that you can kind of like whatever approach you're doing around career, your inner feline saying that could do well for around your general well-being as well too. Like if you're doing something to nurture and protect yourself there, what are you doing for your physical and emotional well-being? Spiritually, I think it's helpful what's going on here. Let me just look at that again. Yes, 10 of Pentacles. There is big change that's meant to happen. What this is saying, this is like the changes that are around you, whether it's around relationships that are breaking up, whether it's yours or ones that are around you, whether it's big changes in your workplace, they're all meant to happen. This is why you've got the Wheel of Fortune. You're in a change cycle. It's a very Plutonian sort of period of time for you. So that is meant to happen. It's meant to liberate you. This is why you kind of know that that this energy may be tricky, but it's meant to liberate you. And if you have that perspective and you understand that, spiritually it nourishes the King of Cups here, and it allows you to be a little bit objective and step back and go, the wheel has to turn. I have to see where this all lands at the end. So given the importance of the spiritual thing, what using the other deck, when we're looking at what your inner feline's higher self has to say, firstly around love and relationships. 10 of Cups. Now look at that. You've got the 10 of Cups reversed there. There is a possibility. That's what I'm saying. Like whether it's you and a partner or whether it's somebody else, there is actually a simpatico here. It's just that it's not being discussed or seen, but there is that possibility The devil, that's interesting, but there's a release from the kind of shadow energy as possible. And the Seven of Pentacles. Yeah, whatever this is, I don't feel like this is, whether it's your relationship or whether it's others around you, I don't feel like it's a lost cause at all. I just feel like somewhere it's got kind of a bit obsessive in the debate and the argument and what it's growing into and what it's meant to grow into. But there is something good there. That's what your higher self's saying. It's like it's bringing things up to the surface that's necessary. We're not necessarily looking at like a separation as such. But if your others are trying to draw you into some family thing, it's very shadowy. Just let it work itself out. That's the other sort of thing. It's still got a pretty good chance it'll work itself out appropriately. Then let's have a look at career. Whereas I say, again, a lot of change is going on, but you seem to be on top of it. So the Page of Wands reversed, the Knight of Pentacles reversed, the Two of Wands reversed. Okay, right now you don't know exactly what you're going to do out of this because there's a lot of change going on. You may temporarily stay where you are, or you may go somewhere temporarily. You might go into a range of roles while you're working out your new direction. This is saying don't rush what comes out of this. Like there's going to be opportunities, but you're meant to kind of explore and not commit to anything else too quickly. You'll be okay financially and so forth. There's not a sort of sense of any kind of monetary thing there, but it's like it's maybe some temporary trying things out would be good at this stage for you. If it's connected to that, then it may be that you temporarily leave somewhere or you take a holiday or something and you come back because it sorts itself out. How do you deal with all this general well-being when there's a lot of, it feels like a lot of tension around you that you don't have a lot of control over. So how do you deal with that? How do you best not have it make you feel depressed or a little bit sort of overly emotional? Nine of Swords, Two of Pentacles, the Magician. Okay. So what this is saying is that the thing that could wear you down in this is if you feel you have to make some decisions when you don't have enough information and when the wheel hasn't turned. So it's like you're worrying about, it's saying the higher self of your feeling is saying you're worrying at the moment about a choice that in many ways you don't even have. That it's going to, what you're meant to do and where you're meant to be, you're going to come to anyway. But it's like you just have to let it play out. Because it's not, it has to happen. There's a kind of a karmic thing around this, but let it play out. Don't worry about the choice right now. This will put you in a more powerful sort of position and more clear position eventually. But it's like you're feeling like, how can I affect the wheel of fortune? How can I, do something here? But it's not meant to be something you choose about for whatever reason. So then spiritually liberating yourself from that so that you can let what needs to change and like kind of let go of the steering wheel a bit. Like I almost feel like that. It looks almost like a steering wheel. So let go of the steering wheel a bit. So the energy around that is the Eight of Cups. So yeah, moving away from the emotional stuff. The Nine of Pentacles reversed, but not making yourself alone. It's not like detaching completely. The King of Wands. Yeah, you're going to find that this takes you towards, you're kind of in a magician, you're in a King of Wands. Yeah, like there's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of change, a lot of people kind of like looking the side eye at each other around the energy with you at the moment. And it just can't stop it. It has to go through its cycle. But you will reconnect with people. Things are going to go the way that they need to go, and then you're going to have the information to be able to make decisions. And if you take a spiritual view of it, like I'm taking my hands off the steering wheel, this is not something I can really influence. Even if it's your relationship here, it's kind of like just let it occur. Like either the other person's going to start to talk and then you'll be able to talk, or it really has come to the time where it needs to sort of separate and move on. This is really, it's asking you to not feel that not to be the cat there who's trying to turn the steering wheel, to go, okay, hands off. So let's get you some extra support around this. Let's have a look at some other animal spirits that can help you on top of the feline, inner feline for you. So around love and relationships, Scarab, follow the star. So I think this is follow the star. To me is like your North Star, your spiritual thing. In the end, and the scarab is often, like when something ends and something begins, because it was sort of one of the things with funeral pyres, I think, in Egypt and so forth. It's connected with cycles of death and rebirth. So there's sort of something here where there's a just follow the instincts of this. It is going to land and become what it's meant to become. Don't try and dictate to the star in how it works out. Just follow it. It'll be interesting. We're going to do astrology, so it'll be interesting to see what star or what planets or star systems are associated with this. Then around career, you have elephant, learning from the past. Okay. You've probably seen big changes before. This is why you're able to deal with this with quite a lot of like magnanimous equanimity, that kind of thing. You're okay with that. And there are things from your past that will help you with this. And I think one of the things you might have learned from the past is take slow, steady, deliberate steps rather than rushing to an outcome. Allow it to unfold. Around well-being, which is getting you to try and detach from feeling you have to control an outcome or get an answer. Ladybug, time of luck. You trust to luck. Luck is the other side of the Wheel of Fortune. There is luck for you here. Things are going to work out in a good way. You've just got to kind of like batten down the hatches and let it work its way through. Ladybugs also, there's that poem about Ladybug going home. So I think there might be sort of something here about family and those connections. If some of this tension is in the family, I think it's a good sign it will sort itself out. And then spiritually, B, extract the honey from life. So there's still many good things to be had when you sort of get the liberation from this. So I think that it's saying be of good cheer. Ultimately, this is going to be in your benefit. Ultimately, the wheel is turning in your favour and with luck, but it just doesn't feel like it right now because everything's a bit chaotic and nobody's talking to each other in a productive way. Let's see the stars, because it's important particularly for this one. So how do the stars guide you around love and relationships? Gemini, versatility, self-expression, curiosity. Now that's interesting. So if the King and Queen of Swords is you and another person, and you're kind of not speaking, you're in no contact, or you're just kind of at cross purposes, one of the ways to turn around a King or Queen of Swords type, and by the way, Gemini is the Queen of Swords, is to get curious and ask some questions and engage their mind. So if that's going on, and if you are somehow pulled into something between two people, then maybe show an interest in each of their sides and become a bit like a mediator. Because there's something here where communication, if follow the star, the Gemini sign, like that's the thing that would be necessary to sort this through. You can't do much other than that, but if you can either communicate yourself with curiosity or facilitate some curiosity between people, that could be really helpful. Around the career, where I think, just take slow, steady steps. Change is going to work well for you. Sirius, knowledge, training, wisdom, keeping wisdom, teaching. Yeah, like you already know what to do here. That's why we had the King of Cups. That's why we've got the Elephant. This isn't new to you, whatever's going on there. Well-being, where you really might want to take control of something, but you really can't beyond maybe communication. The energy there is Uranus, revolution, rebellion, eccentricity, progress. Yeah, you really want to take control. Like this is the part of you for your well-being, because you can see all this sort of like emotional stuff going on around you. You really want to kind of like just make that wheel turn, make it all happen, bring it to a head and just, deal with the outcome. But this is saying you've got to kind of be a little bit more detached from that. It's not yours to make the thing blow up. And then around the liberation from the old orders and so forth spiritually for you, we have Saturn, discipline, maturity, structure, leadership. So yeah, there's some karmic cycles around this that are breaking. This is the other reason. You might be helping with your family's karma, with your lover's karma, with ancestral karma, all those sort of things potentially. And it's breaking all these old patterns. But this is why it has to happen. You can't stop it once it begins. It's also a sign of your maturity. Your maturity is one of the things that's going to help you deal with this, your spiritual maturity with Saturn. So that's interesting. Let's also, with a bit of astrology in a different way, connect the planets with your chakra system to see what we get in each area. So around love and relationships, we've got the root chakra, Neptune, inspiration, reward. Inspiration, if there is a kind of a survival thing, is a relationship going to last? Is a family going to last? Is it all going to break up? Like Neptune, inspiration and communication are very strongly connected. The way to get the best outcome here for stability is to try and inspire each other, if it's your relationship, or inspire in others a sort of sense of curiosity, I think. Getting back to why, because at some point, whatever this relationship is, it was good. It's now got a bit of strange, but it could be made good again. Then when we're looking at career, creativity with the sacral chakra, Pluto, transformation, Pluto, the big change is a release. Your creativity, let it develop. This is eventually the King of Wands. This is actually meant to kind of stir up creativity, give you the change that you need. It's the shake-up that you need around your career or vocation to get excited about it again. Then the side of you that kind of really wants to hurry this all up, make the change happen, but you kind of have to cool your jets. The energy around that is the solar plexus, so power. Your Pluto, transformation, strength, and understand the transformation strengthens you. But you've got to, what I'm feeling there very strongly is that when you are doing something like you're strengthening your body, you do exercise. You don't do it all at once and rush, because you'll just fall apart. But you gradually build muscles. Your muscles are built by just slight injuring, by pushing them a bit further, and then they heal, and then they're stronger and slight. But if you did it too much, it would all go to custard. But in this sort of thing, this is an energy of the transformation. Energy itself is going to strengthen you, so you need to let it happen. Even though, as I say, you're in it, feel like it's going, yeah, I know, you want to take the steering wheel, you could sort this all out tomorrow, but the reality is that the potential of it would be lost. And then around this spiritually, we've got the third eye, Uranus again, individuality, detachment. Yeah, you've got to be a bit detached from the outcomes of this, even if it is your relationship, though I think that's the one where you could at least be curious. But I think for most of you, this might be another relationship around you, friendship, work relationship, your parents, your family, siblings, whatever. But this is saying that your spiritual energy is meant to detach you, for you to understand why it has to have its own timing and so forth. It's meant to liberate you. If you get too much controlling in it, then you're not liberated. You're caught right in the middle of it. It's like you'd get caught on the spokes or something if you didn't just let it go through. And you've got to just let your intuition guide you on that. Okay. So to finish off, I just want to get a wild card from the Blue Dragonfly for any last pieces of advice, possibly out of left field or quirky, that your inner feline wants to give you. Ooh, this is an interesting one. I think this one might only be for some. So if this doesn't resonate, just ignore it. We have thirst for revenge, conspiracy, victim role, justice will be served, anger. For some of you, whatever this dispute is going on, whether it's you're in it or someone else is in it, whatever's going on around work, there could be some people who are very agitated around this. And there could be some really high level anger, and it might be the other reason why it's saying detach, because if you get too involved in this, you could get in the energy of that if people are not happy with the outcome, because I think you're going to be fine, but others are not necessarily, and you don't want them to think that you controlled it or had something to do with it. That's number one. Number two, if you are in the middle of all this and you feel like, although you can deal with it, you feel like you've been shellacked emotionally or career or whatever, in the end, it's going to liberate you. Do not go into that energy, because this is meant to ultimately empower you and work out for you. But if you go into that energy and you go into a victim role, it's not going to work for you. But as I say, it's a very left of field one. I feel very strongly this is only going to apply to some of you that have come to this reading. So use your discernment there. I hope you enjoyed the reading. Overall, I think it's really great. There's a lot of change, but you're really on top of it. But as I say, just be a bit careful of that message as to whether it resonates or not. Hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, Pile 3, to your reading. So you came to the reading with Temperance. Now, what I've sort of found in these readings so far, and I think this will be the same, is that I think it's an overarching energy that your inner feline wants to, I think, congratulate you or have you work with, or as a way or a solution to problems if problems come up. So temperance is all about balance. Temperance is interesting in the major arcana. Many people believe, and I think there's some resonance to this, that the magician card that comes quite early in the major arcana is like all the skills, magic, all the things that you could do. Temperance is where it's sort of alchemized and you're in control of it. So I'm feeling with this very much, just like this beautiful little kitten here is so very carefully and calmly taking a certain amount of something and making it something more in a bigger cup, that you're building your capacity, your skills, your abilities, your focus, and maybe bringing balance to something. But I feel it's more the way that that's portrayed. I feel like it's more that you're adding to things, that you're bringing a richness and a maturity to things, and your inner feline wants you to know that. So we'll bear that in mind as we go through. What we're going to do is we're going to look at love and relationships, career and vocation, your general well-being, and your spiritual energy. And we're going to get 2 cards for each. I'd love to do more. This deck is so gorgeous, but it's sort of just a matter of space. And then we're going to use another of Chris Lee's beautiful decks, Sanctus Concordia, to look at what your inner feline's higher self wants to say. So this is more your kind of conscious inner feline, your clever inner strategic self. So around love and relationships, we've got Queen of Cups and the Wheel of Fortune. Okay. Around career and vocation, whatever that means to you, we have 6 of Wands reversed and Ace of Cups. Around general well-being, King of Swords reversed, Ace of Wands, and around spiritual energy for you, your spiritual development and path, we have the Magician. Wow, there you go. And the Fool. Ooh, that's interesting. Okay, pile 3. So, relationship-wise, whether this is a love relationship, friendships, family, could be any of those things. So just take whatever applies. One of the things that's beautiful about your temperance energy here is you're very emotionally authentic and you are open to the right timing for things. Like you've got a radar for the right timing around relationships that's off the charts. You're really, really empathic, really can read people very, very well. Like you're not likely to get something wrong. If you feel someone's interested, you're likely to be right. If you see 2 people and you think, well, they'd be good together, you're likely to be right. You're really, really on point there. It's possible for some of you that a long-held emotional wish is coming into alignment for you now. There could even be fate or destiny associated with a relationship around you at this point in time. If there's someone that you've met that you're really interested in or someone you're about to meet, it kind of depends on what's going on in your life. If you're happily in a relationship, then it's probably other sort of fated, really good relationships. It could be a very psychic and spiritually connected friend coming in, if it's not a lover. But whatever it is, that's a really strong area where your balance is there, because there's an emotional maturity and emotional authenticity that is able to look at the turn of the wheel. Because the Wheel of Fortune, I always say, it doesn't really matter that much whether it's upright or reversed. I mean, when it's upright, it's coming into better times, but it's going to go down for a while and then it'll come up again. This is the emotional authenticity and ability to deal with that. You may, in fact, be someone who would be really good at being a therapist or a counselor or a coach or something like that if you're not already doing it, because you're just really, really good at this stuff. Really, really good at it. Career is interesting too. You are doing something, or you are about to do something, or you're focusing on something that you would really love. With the Ace of Cups, there's sort of like a real sort of beginning energy of love of the heart, but you're not feeling that you're being recognized yet with the 6 of Wands reversed. So you're either trying to start something that's close to the heart and it's like it's not igniting yet. Doesn't mean it won't, but it might be not igniting, or it might be that if you're in a workplace or a career or something, you're not feeling recognized for your skills and your abilities, and particularly around your emotional abilities, because they're off the charts, it might be the thing that's meant to trigger you into doing something that you love and care for more. Like, you seriously, if you are someone who isn't a therapist or a coach or a mentor or a relationship counselor or something, and that interests you, then I would say that once you get into a career like that, you're going to be really moving forward. But maybe if you're in some sort of like office job at the moment, you're not going to get the recognition because your skills are off the charts about dealing with people. So this is something to think about. General well-being. I think these two things could be connected. I think that there could be someone in your work, career, vocational area that's not fair. They aren't going to see you for who you are, but it's meant to trigger you to do something else, because you've also got an Ace of Wands here. So Ace of Cups and Ace of Wands. This is a double blessing. So there's something around someone who's not fair or something that's not honest around you, and you would pick that up a mile away, which is meant to inspire you. These things are meant to inspire you to think about what you really want to do creatively, emotionally. And then when you do, you already have, you remember I talked about like that the temperance is like the mature magician? Like you have the magician stuff here in your spiritual kit bag, and it's already at the kind of temperance level, which is why you're ready for a new adventure. You're ready for something new. And you're more than skilled of dealing with the new. But you're not being, at work or in some other way, you're not being recognized for all that you bring, and you have so much to bring. If you wanted to do some sort of spiritual career, wow, you'd be really, really good at that as well. So it makes it really interesting to see with the other of Christopher's decks, what does the higher self level, the sort of 5D level of your inner feline want to say to you? So we're just going to get 3 cards from that deck for each of these things. So around relationships, Queen of Swords reversed, 9 of Cups reversed. Oh, this is interesting. 8 of Swords reversed. Wow, okay. Well, we'll get into what that means. Let's have a look at career. The Chariot reversed. The Star reversed. Yeah, you're definitely meant to do something new. The 4 of Pentacles. But, you might have to, you might be just sort of watching your pennies to be able to do it, but you're definitely meant to do something new when you get an opportunity. General well-being. 5 of Wands. Yeah, there's somebody who's not being fair. There's a bit of a minor dispute. It shouldn't stop you. Queen of Pentacles, you'll be able to rise above it. 5 of Cups. But yeah, the disappointment's meant to trigger you to do something new. And then your spiritual development. Wheel of Fortune. So that's going back. There's something about your spirituality and your emotional depth. The world. Wow, this is a really powerful area. Your spirituality is really, really powerful. And 8 of Cups reversed. Okay, all right. So, as I say, you're off the charts, we know, emotionally. But there's someone around you, or maybe there's more than one person, but there's someone around you who's hypercritical. And like they kind of leech the joy out of the room the minute they walk in. There's someone around you like that. I think they're probably connected with work, but like who knows? It may be a frenemy who's very jealous of you if that's the case, because you're the Queen of Cups upright. This is the Queen of Swords reversed. A very jealous person. Do not like other people being happy. And I think that you're onto that. You can see it. You're ready to liberate yourself from that energy. And it may be the same energy that's in the workplace, or it might be that there's sort of energies around this in general for you to understand how different you are. Like it's almost like there's someone who's around you that proves what it is when you don't have that emotional maturity. There's something like that going on. So, but you more than have what you need to deal with it. You are being slowed down a bit at work. You aren't doing at the moment what you want to do, and it might be a material thing. And I think your higher feline self is saying that's okay for the moment, because we have to pay the bills, but things are going to sort of head in a direction where you have the blessing and the timing and so forth to move on. It's like spiritually that's being moved for you so that you can do something new. So down here around this, don't sweat the bickering with these people. They really aren't that important. You are going to be able to create something that is sort of like very, very financially solid, but also very healthful, something that's good for you. But you've got to kind of just let the disappointment go. Not everybody is as emotionally balanced as you. Not everyone is temperate as you. Not everyone is as fair as you. But this is all just meant to be getting you to move towards something, because your spiritual side knows that the timing is coming in for your skills to really rise, and you're meant to complete certain things and let go of certain things to do it. So I think it's the kind of the irritation in the oyster that creates the pearl. You're meant to do new things. The timing is coming into play, but to do those new things, you need to close out on others. And like your understanding of things, your understanding of the whoever this person or people are, you're not going to shift their view, because they're not fair and they're not open to fairness. Very jealous, very competitive sort of environment, whether it's at work or elsewhere. But you are above that. You will rise above that. So let's have a look and see what other natural spirit energies can help you. So firstly, around love and relationships. If this, the other thing is about you being in a love relationship, you might have someone who's very jealous of you, but you honour them, you know. Love and relationships, bison, abundance all around. Yeah, you will be able to, people are jealous of how good you are at this, how good you are at relationships, but they'll show themselves because you have an abundant energy around relationships. People like to be around you because you're nice. Then when we look at career, walrus, paternalistic autonomy. Okay, I think that something wants you to start to break free and be your own boss, or go into a new career or whatever it is. There's a kind of almost a paternalistic shove going on here. And it's almost as though you're in an environment, as I say, that's not going to really recognise or let you move forward with your skills. So it's the problem that's created to get you to move. And walrus is there to kind of make you think about all that you could be. Around general well-being, B, extract the honey of life. Yeah, don't worry too much about these people. Like, you're meant to sort of really enjoy yourself. So you're meant to go to the Ace of Wands. You're meant to go to what's creative, interesting, not this sort of like Queen of Swords reversed, King of Swords reversed. It's kind of petty. You know, success is the best revenge, would be what I'd say. And then in terms of your spiritual energy, crab, defense of the inner self. Yeah, the best defense you can do in a situation like this is to kind of move on and let things go, because you're kind of trying to turn it around. But the thing about this is that because you are so good at relationships, 9 times out of 10 you can turn things around. This time the people are jealous of you, I think. Well, they just don't get you. It's just not going to happen. So it's meant to kind of make you really go and use what you have, which is really exceptional. Okay, so let's get you some astrology energy then. So firstly, for love and relationships, Alpha Centauri, protection, logic, analysis, warrior spirit. Gee, you're strong. Bison, Alpha Centauri. Yeah, just bring your logic to this, your balance, because your balance, temperance is head and heart, you know, because your head's there as well too. Whoever you're sort of like having an issue with or who's jealous of you, they're not in control of their mind, let alone their heart. You have this sort of like higher level analysis and understanding. You get relationships on a level that most people don't. Then in terms of career and vocation, Arcturus, strong will, pioneer, forward-thinking, change-making. Yeah, you're meant to really shine. You're meant to lead out. It's interesting, paternalistic autonomy. Arcturus makes me think of King Arthur. So it's like there is a sort of sense of coming into your own sovereignty around all of this. Then when we look at general well-being, we're just meant to kind of enjoy life and not sweat this petty rubbish. Neptune, dreams, illusion, depths, imagination. Yeah, to go into the sort of psychic energy, into what inspires you, all of that kind of thing. And then around your spiritual energy, Saturn. This is interesting. These turned up in some of the others. Some of you might have gone to more than one. Saturn, discipline, maturity, structural leadership. Yeah, endings, you know, like moving forward, the next level, maturing, leveling up, all of that kind of thing. Maybe, you know, taking on some responsibilities, having a family, doing all those sort of things as well too could be part of this. Let's use astrology in a different way with planets and connect them to the chakra system with the Astro Chakra cards. So around love and relationships again. Intuition, Pluto, transformation, revelation. Yeah, you can smell this stuff a mile off. Your ability with people is really profound. Then the energy that's around the career, where I think you're kind of like, you might take a little while to make the move, but you will eventually, because you're meant to sort of do something that's more true to you. Yeah, right now you see we've got survival. We've got Neptune in the root chakra. So Neptune down here, wanting to have the sort of like the joy in life, that's going to be your inspiration. But right now you're a little bit in survival mode there. That's okay. It's going to shift. You're going to understand. Then around extracting that joy from life and the sort of dreams that you have, we have the crown chakra, Uranus, individuality, freedom. Yeah, freedom from certain things is what this is supposed to be about, so that you can become something new. And that's kind of connecting to how strong your spirituality is. And heart chakra, love, Pluto, transformation, gratitude. Yeah, in the end, your heart is filled, and you get back to that beautiful emotional energy by going through the transformation. But it's a very transformative time with Pluto. That's like having, like a couple of Pluto sort of like in aspect to each other. And then we've got Uranus and we've got Neptune. It's a very sort of spiritual, transformative time for you. But you're ready because you're very strong. So to finish off, we're just going to get a card from the Blue Dragonfly for a wild card energy, something else that your inner feline might want to say, just to kind of put the icing on the cake, the cherry on top, whatever else. So we get rhythm, go with the flow, synchronicity, adaptability. So this is saying like kind of like you will be in the flow. Just go with your instinct, go with your intuition, go with your heart. All of these things are right because you're so well developed on that level and you're so balanced. And so, if you do want to take a little bit more time with that, that's fine. You're heading towards something. Don't sweat the idiots. Just enjoy your life because you're meant to. You're very well balanced. So I hope that resonates for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings.